This is Ostrnia, one of the westernmost historically Rusyn villages in the world at the foothills of the Tatra Mountains on the border of Poland and Slovakia. With a population of 303, this town's history is quite fascinating, but more on that later. Throughout the centuries, there has been an uncountable number of periods of colonization, ethnic assimilation, and territorial expansion. Whether it be the Slavs pushing out Finno-Ugric people from the lands of modern-day Western Russia, to the Turks' extermination and assimilation of native Anatolians, the movement of people and nations cannot be understated. The case of the Rusyns on a fundamental level is no different, though perhaps a little less bloody. This is a map of Rusyn settlement in the early 1900s, covering Romania, Ukraine, Poland, and Slovakia. Before the Middle Ages, however, the extent of Carpathian Rus was a fraction of what it is today. Its total area is not known, but it was primarily contained within that of modern-day Zakarpattia Oblast, near the Varetsky Pass. So how did these other areas become Rusyn then? If there was an easy answer, this video would be a minute long, so buckle up. The first thing to know is that these lands in eastern Slovakia and southeast Poland were first inhabited by Germans and West Slavs. To put it mildly, however, the terrain wasn't well suited for these people's farming or lifestyles. Because of this area being on the borders of both kingdoms, they wanted to keep these places at least minorly populated and protected, even with these challenges. So this provided the opportunity, but why Rusyns? One important word you must know to understand the nature of these events is Vlach. These Romance-speaking people lived in the southern Balkans around the area of Serbia, northern Macedonia, Bulgaria, Albania, and Greece. By most medieval accounts, they were described as a nomadic group whose profession was that of shepherding. Because of the Ottoman expansions into the Balkans of the 1400s and beyond, Vlachs moved up from their homelands following the Carpathians into Transylvania, Carpathian Rus, and even stretching as far as the Czech Republic, where there is an ethno-region called Moravia and Wallachia. Those that stayed behind in Carpathian Rus would assimilate into the Rusyn ethos, so much so that for centuries these people were called Vlach Rusyn. Because these people were not farmers but pastoralists, they were fantastic candidates for these remote villages on the border. The Kingdom of Hungary primarily, but also Poland as well, gave enticing proposals to these people, using what was called the Vlach Law. In exchange for populating the region and guarding the roads and borders of the kingdom, these Vlach Rusyns were exempted from paying taxes for sometimes decades and had other various benefits. These migrations started somewhere in the 1400s, and by the 1500s there were official records of their presence in the most far western towns, such as Blazov, Mala Frankova, Tiki Potok, and many others. This combination of misfortune and opportunity led to what is now the remnants of Lemkowina and the Rusyn settlements in Prešov. If we think big picture historically, these settlements are actually quite new in the grand scheme of things. As for the little town of Ostrnia, it too was part of the settlement wave of Rusyns. Its history is one of great intrigue. Even though it was technically part of the Kingdom of Hungary, Polish nobles claimed the area as part of their estate. But I'm not here to talk about their past right now. In many ways, this town is one of the many that showcases the current problems that Rusyn villages in Western Carpathian Rus face in the modern era. From a population high of around 2,000 people in the 1930s to now only less than 1/4 of that, not to mention other various businesses and activities have closed shop, the village has seen better days. Young people move out for better opportunities and don't return, and as the older generation dies off, there is no one to replace them. This phenomena is not uncommon or new, but is a warning shot for what the future could look like where all these towns fall off the map. Some say we should let these places fade away, but is that really the best solution? I don't think so, though I must admit I have no concrete answers either. What I do know, though, is that their continued survival and history is important to the Rusyn story. Let me know in the comments what you think could be done to stop this. Thanks for watching, and see you next time on Lemko with History.